Greetings. This is the artist formerly known as HKE. Finally got the stream working after a few fuck-ups of the last few tries. So today on the show we got a pretty chill episode, I think, because it's sort of a late night session. It's just coming up to 20 to 4 in the morning over here in the UK. And on today's show we've got the artist known as Emotion X, but they also go by a host of other names. But would you like to introduce yourself to the Canvas stream?
My name is Lyndon, my actual human name, and then my alias is Emotion X, and I made BLCR and that global comp that released on your label.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, Emotion X actually goes under quite a lot of names, some of which you might be familiar with. Like the most obvious one is the recent example that they just mentioned, which was Global. They put together the entire global unification project that dropped on Dream Catalogue a few weeks ago. They were also...
Yeah, I didn't make every track. It was, a bunch of people. I made one track, then a bunch of friends made the rest, but I put it together.
Yeah, we'll probably go into that in a little bit and sort of explain the process and such. They also were involved in the very early days of BLCR, back when it was known as Bloody Carpet. Acid Medical was another record label that they were the brains behind, and some other ones as well, like 2047, Future Teller, Dream Tech, Unknown Forever. Quite a lot of different phases that you've been through, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is probably the third or fourth try of doing this podcast, and I think finally I've got the it's been about 3 or 4 days of OBS completely fucking up, but finally I think I've sort of sorted out the problems on my end, which was partly just plugging a LAN cable in rather than using Wi-Fi. Seems to have helped a lot anyway. But yeah, we just got a super chat in already. Nice. Thanks. That's from John Dewar, and he sends in $5 Australian and says super chat initiated. So thanks very much for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, we were gonna do a stream earlier today. Like usually, it's Shima and myself who run Canvas, but Shima goes to bed quite early these days. Unlike me, I'm still on the 26 to 28 hour sleep cycle. So in these moments where I sleep right through the day, Shima won't be on the shows, unfortunately. But that being said, I'm planning to do an all-dayer today, so we'll actually be back on for Canvas episode 11, probably early afternoon UK time with Shima and myself. But yeah, for today, it's just, or tonight rather, it's myself and Emotion X. So if you want to get any questions into myself and Emotion X or London, then feel free to drop them in the chat and do so. I'm just going to take a sip of water. Yeah, so how's it going with you? Because, we haven't really spoke much as of late.
I've been fine. I just finished my last semester in college. Tesla, what the...
Oh, really?
The dog's freaking out.
What did you actually study in college?
Computer science. I worded that as if, I finished college. I haven't finished it. It was just I finished a semester.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So are you planning to do computer science for, a degree at university or something?
No, yeah. I'm gonna get a bachelor's in it.
What are your plans after that?
Move to Ireland move to Ireland.
Yeah.
After, because I live in Houston right now.
Yeah.
And then just try to start a life there.
What happened? Because you were sort of set on moving to Sweden a while back, weren't you? So what changed to make you want to move to Ireland? Is it because of the technology stuff that's going on in Ireland, with Apple and Google and all that stuff?
It's several reasons, the tech thing, and I was learning Swedish, and I'm still far from being fluent in it, so I'm not comfortable moving to a country for when a language that everyone knows there. I would want to know Swedish before I moved there.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, Halo Acid just moved to Ireland recently, but he actually used to live in Sweden for a few years. And when he
Yeah.
first moved there, he didn't like know a word of the language at all. But he said he like got by quite fine because like the majority of Swedes actually do speak English. So but like he said he like like when you actually live in there, you sort of pick up the language a lot faster than you would if you were just like studying at home or whatever.
Yeah, I
So
mean, like, yeah, I get that, but it just doesn't sit right with me to move to a country where I don't know the language with. And I mean,
yeah,
like,
yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, like, I'd agree with that myself. Like, I'd never moved to a
yeah.
country that wasn't like English as a first language, but that's also partly because like I'm just complete shit at learning new languages. I've come to find. Yeah. So what is it about Ireland in particular that's like attracting you there?
Uh, it's just I want to move to a country that's in the European Union because
Yeah,
I know you don't like it, but it just, generally I kind of see it as more stable than the United States. I really don't think the US is going to have a very
yeah,
bright future, and I want to move away from it.
yeah.
So,
Like we were sort of talking about this on the show the other day. We were talking about I think or listen, I can't remember now, but yeah, we were just basically talking about how like the future of the world is sort of converging all more towards China rather than like America. I think like
yeah.
America seems to be falling apart a little bit, but like I think like the American spirit will probably see them through eventually. Like these sort like America sort of has that resilience behind it. Um, yeah, but it's like hard to predict these things because like if you look back at like attitudes in like the 80s, for example, everyone thought like Japan was going to be like ruling the world at this point, and that never really
Yeah.
came to fruition. But yeah, I suppose that's sort of like where the like what the attitude behind like vaporwave is and such in a sense. But yeah, I mean like I think just like moving away from your hometown in general is always sort of like a positive thing to do anyway, because like you're
Yeah.
sort of getting to experience new cultures and such, and rather than sticking about where you always lived. But is there like any particular reason like why like aside from the EU, like what is it about Ireland? Is it just like the is it just because of English rather than anything else?
Well, I it just kind of like it's hard to put it, but I
Yeah,
kind of see the Irish, like culture. I just enjoy it. Like I think it's like more interesting than English culture in a lot of ways. It's just
yeah.
I really don't want to like, offend you because,
No, it's fine. I don't really like I like even though like I'm an Englishman and such, I don't really have any like strong affinity towards my country at all. So it's like I'm
yeah.
not gonna take any offense in that regard.
I guess it's just I like respect like Irish culture more than English culture because I kind of see it as more, forged out of like shitty history and stuff
Yeah,
like
like
that.
hardship and such. Yeah,
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 like the
yeah. That's true.
out of
A lot of hardship that they endured at the hands of the English. In fact.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, oh, we got another super chat from Music Doc. They sent in one
That's
far.
Hans.
What? Sorry.
That's Hans. That's his name.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, so this is from Hans. And it's in a currency I don't recognize, but it's 1,000 units of that currency. So, do you know what currency that is? But if you know who it is.
Uh, he lives in Chile, so
Oh,
my
right.
guess
Okay.
is
So it's like it must be like Chilean, whatever. It says like it's 1,000 CLP, so it's like 1,000 of the Chilean currency. And
yeah.
anyway, they say Lyndon David, say a shout out to me, please. Love you with a little heart emoji.
There you go. Shout out
Yeah,
Hans.
yeah. Shout out to Hans and thank you very much for the super chat. It's much appreciated. So yeah, if you want to leave some questions in the chat for us, I guess we'll start going through them shortly. But like before we get into that, I actually wanted to talk to you about because I know you're like a fan of the game Fallout 76, which is you might be like one of the only people in the world who actually enjoys the game. It seems so.
Yeah.
Like even though I'm not much of a big gamer, I've sort of been following like the Fallout 76 controversy because like
Oh
I
yeah.
am I am like a bit of a Fallout fan in a sense, Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas were games that like I really enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 I wasn't as big a fan of, but like it wasn't bad. But yeah, like what is it about Fallout 76 that you actually enjoy that other people don't seem to grasp or whatever?
Oh man. Um, you know, the reason why because I also really liked Fallout 4. I think I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but I think Fallout 4 was better than 3. I mean, New
really.
Vegas is clearly like the best one, but I think Fallout 4 was way better than 3. Fucking hated 3. I couldn't stand it. I
Really, yeah, yeah.
like
I loved three. Like the thing I really liked about three, and I think this is something that sort of gets overlooked. Like in Fallout 3, um, like everything that you did sort of had like consequences in a sense. So like if like you
yeah.
could either choose to be like act as a good person or a bad person or whatever, and that would sort of like affect the world around you. And I think like I think it was Bethesda who made that one, wasn't it? Because
Yeah, it's Bethesda.
Bethesda made that, and I think like they really like put a lot of effort into sort of like I suppose like the branching storylines and such in that regard. Like the main storyline was pretty weak, but all the little things that were sort of happening around the open world, so to speak, were quite interesting. I thought, but yeah, like I felt that Fallout 4 was a lot more linear than like New Vegas or Fallout
Oh,
3 personally.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's sort
Um,
of why I didn't like it as much. But yeah, like what is it about Fallout 76 that you actually enjoy? Because I can't see, I can't really see anything about it really that would actually be enjoyable.
well, I the reason why I liked 4 a lot was because of all the gameplay. Like the story sucked. Like
Yeah,
the story honestly in 3 was way better, but
yeah,
like I mean with the quest to quest thing, but the gameplay of 4 was just more fun. Like the open world in 4 was way better than
yeah,
3, I
yeah,
think. And
yeah,
like just building settlements and shit. That was what I liked. And 76 is just, it's that, but like it's a lot more like that because honestly, like the open world in 76 is probably like one of the best open worlds I've ever played in a game before. I
yeah,
I
yeah,
genuinely think that. And the story is even more downplayed in the game, but honestly, I think the story, because you see like on all these like news outlets and stuff, they say like the story is just a bunch of like you just listen to recordings and stuff.
yeah,
That is like only like the first part of the game
yeah.
where it's like that.
So it
So I mean,
actually does expand beyond just the recordings and such. You actually
yeah,
get like a bit more like in-depth story to it.
yes,
That's
that
interesting.
like the story gets. I think it gets pretty interesting because unlike 4 where you're just because like the reason why 4 story sucks so much was because
Yeah.
of like the voice acting, and like Bethesda wanted you to play as who they wanted you to play as. You couldn't, do
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah,
want.
that was
Like
sort of like
couldn't.
one of the like major pet peeves that I had with Fallout 4 myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
that like that just isn't a problem in 76 because you can't even interact with the characters at all, and they built around that one thing I think pretty well with like you just kind of you like I guess it's kind of role playing the way you could role play in the very first Half-Life game. Have you played that game before?
no, I played Half-Life 2, but I sort of turned it off after an hour because I got bored of it. Yeah, I
well,
think
like the
that isn't that
first.
sort of like sacrilege amongst like gamers, like isn't that like regarded
Oh
as one
yeah,
of the best games ever? Yeah, I just found it
that's
quite
one of
fun.
my favorite games is Half-Life 2. But Half-Life 2 is really really linear. Like that's like literally what it's just one story that you can play.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
in the first Half-Life, you could play the whole game like you could play it as if like you are like a scared like pussy where you don't kill anything and you just kind of slither through the whole game, or you could
yeah,
kill everyone. And that doesn't exist in Half-Life 2, but in the first Half-Life you could kind of role play by just the gameplay itself, and it's kind of similar to that
yeah,
in
yeah.
76 where you just role play as like you know
Yeah, it's quite interesting that
yeah,
I didn't know that about the first Half-Life actually. Like I say, I'd only
yeah,
played Half-Life 2, so
yeah. Half-Life 2 is nothing like the first one. They're both good games, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, they're good for different reasons.
Yeah, just before we move off like the Fallout chat, like is it like if because as you say like Fallout 76 is like a lot of like settlement building and such, and like so I suppose like you're developing your own little towns or something in a sense. Like
Well,
like
the
how does that
settlement
actually
building.
work? Like can't people come in and sort of like smash all your shit up pretty much, or
um,
because it's like
like
it's like a completely online based game, isn't it? Like sort of like
yeah.
a MMO in a sense.
Well, number one, like the online like communities, it's
Yeah.
like when you play the game, it's very rare for you to ever really get like you rarely encounter other people. Like you'll come across them like every once in like a few hours, basically,
Yeah,
unless you're
yeah,
playing with someone. But when you're not playing with someone, it's very rare to come across other people. So
yeah.
it's very like sparse open world. Like um, it kind of reminds me a lot of like Journey, where you never really talk to them. All you do is just like wave at them and then walk away.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like you can smash up someone else's building like structure, but no one ever does, because if you do that, you get wanted, and then like everyone on the map wants to kill you, and like they
All right,
get the
okay.
bounty on your head.
So
Yeah,
they've
so
sort
no
of like
one.
created like measures to prevent
Yeah,
like people fucking around with you basically. Yeah, it's quite interesting actually.
yeah. I destroyed someone else's base one time because like I tried to kill them because they were wanted, but they
Yeah.
killed me like over and over and over again until I had nothing, and I just out of spite destroyed their settlement because I was pissed. And
Well, isn't that a thing? Like, couldn't you just make sort of like a secondary account where like that you use to go and fuck around with people that have pissed you off pretty much?
oh, that doesn't exist. You can't like choose servers. You can't.
Oh right, okay. Yeah.
There's no such thing as like smurfing, because you can make a new character. I mean, there's no reason to smurf.
Yeah.
It's not like you unlock new things or anything like that. It's just you just want to, if you want to replay old like
Yeah.
quests, you can do it, but that's it.
All right.
Uh,
Okay. I'm gonna sort of start running through the chat now anyway, and
sure.
answering some we can answer some questions together. But yeah, after that, I guess we'll get into a bit of like music talk. And I know like we were gonna sort of have a little chat about the simulation and God and all that kind of shit in a bit as well, which should be quite interesting. So
Sure.
make sure everyone make sure you stick around for that more towards the end, because it should be quite a good chat, I think. Yeah. Anyway, so just sort of filling time before I get down towards the questions here. So a lot of the chat is just people arguing about OESB not shipping their products on time. um, uh, so Broken Canyon says Lyndon is my top listener on Last FM. LOL.
He makes good music. I like his music.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna play a Broken Canyon track on the podcast actually, so I might do that towards the end because they sent me one for it. Okay, so here's a question for you. Desai asks, "Hey Lyndon, how long have you been making music, and what's your favorite project that you've done so far?"
Oh man, I guess I've been making it since been making music since 2014. I guess my favorite project's probably God, where it was just like a bunch of random samples from YouTube videos just like put together.
Yeah.
I don't it's like it's musically like the worst sounding, but to me it's just the most interesting one I've made, so it's probably my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and the thing about God as well, like, has God actually opened up for a Martin Smith live set on NTS once? So
I remember that. Yeah.
yeah, if you go back a few months on the Dream Catalogue NTS archive, you can actually hear God as a support act for Martin Smith. Yeah, it's like I really like that project actually, like just because it like it sort of like really ties in with a lot of like the weirder shit that you do, which is probably your best stuff actually.
Yeah.
So, which like I guess that like a lot of that came on like your Acid Medical label that ran for about a year or so, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I guess you don't want to get into like how that all closed down and stuff, really, do you? Or
I mean, I can. I'm not like hiding it, but if you don't want to, because it's very like, it's drama
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
If you don't want to get
yeah,
into
it's probably not as interesting to most people who are listening, but yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, like acid
Just like shit
medical is
talking
like
people.
yeah, acid medical is like especially after Tokyo Exchange TKX sort of like capitulated, it sort of like filled that void within the scene about like the most like fucked up and experimental music coming out like happened to be on there for a good 6 or 7 months or so at one
Yeah,
point. So like it was actually one of my favorite labels around the time. It was sort of like peaking in a sense, but yeah, like with a lot of these type of labels, they don't seem to last very long for some reason or another. Maybe it's just like the type of
yeah,
music attracts like chaotic individuals in a sense. So they don't really they don't really have that sort of like infrastructure to keep it going for that long. But yeah, like a lot of the best acid medical releases are actually on Nirvana Port now, the Dream Catalogue sub label. But yeah, so like
yeah.
if you sort of if like you're listening to this and you've got no idea what we're talking about, just search Nirvana Port on Google and check like the last 10 or so releases on the Nirvana Port Bandcamp, because that's all the acid medical
All
weird stuff.
all the acid medical albums have like a little thing in the description saying if it was acid medical archive or
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
So that's a good pointer.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually where DJ Razan's got their start, in fact, on acid medical. What was the album called again? Or I
Oh,
don't know.
blood dripping down my angel wings.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah, yeah.
amazing
I just remember like
EP.
clicking it one day because I really liked the cover art, and it ended up being like probably one of the better things that I've heard this year. And then like I pretty much I think I asked you who it was, didn't I? And then you sort of pointed me in the direction of Eight Nights, and then
Yeah.
yeah, then we got the second to both. Oh, okay, we're reconnected, so hopefully we're still on live. If people in the chat can let us know if we're still on live or not.
Yeah, let me refresh. Yeah, I heard it.
All right, cool. So we're back live, yeah.
Yes.
All right, good. um, yeah, I suppose I can't remember what we were talking about now. That sort of made me lose my train of thought.
8X Nights.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, like yeah. I guess we'll just move on from that anyway, because I've completely lost what I was gonna say. Um, right. Let me get back to the questions. Give me one moment, please. So Charles L asks a question for HK. Are you still in contact with Telepath, and is 2814 still active? So my name's no longer HK. It's just the M now. So if you want to direct questions to M in future, then I'll answer that correctly for you. But yeah, am I still in contact with Telepath? Yeah, like we talk occasionally. But he's sort of like gone on to do his own thing with Virtual Dream Plaza now. 2814, I guess we might make something again in future. Like we have definitely discussed it, but like we're not like gonna rush into anything at this point. Maggie.wmv asks HK now yeah, so like my name is M now. But it might be something different by next week, who knows. Uh So OSB sort of in the chat saying that he's banned and his answers aren't showing up. So
No, they're showing up. Fucking Todd.
it's quite unfortunate that his answers aren't shown in that regard. X says, "I'm sorry that you're alive, Todd." It's pretty harsh.
I mean, I don't like him either, but I'm sorry. I don't want to start shit.
Yeah, like I mean, sort of like a running theme of the show has been people coming into the chat and asking where their floral shop vinyl or whatever is. But like, I think if you actually listen to what Todd has said about it all, if you just sort of get over the whole witch hunt on Reddit and shit, like there like. Because maybe I know a bit more about it than other people, because he's like shown me like things directly. But like what essentially happened was his funds with PayPal got frozen because the thing with PayPal is like if you like, and you can Google this because it's like happens to quite a lot of people. they will like pretty much like freeze your funds and not release them to you if they think that like essentially you're taking in too much money at some point or whatever, because that like I think it's sort of like anti money laundering like protections or whatever. Um, but basically, like they'll end up fucking people around for quite a long time, and that's sort of what has happened with OESB, and that has had like a knock-on effect on like the entire operations of the label. Um, so a lot of like Floral Shop vinyl and like Dragon Soul vinyl and all that stuff, like pretty much got locked in storage, and then there was like other things going on with like certain artists and their managers and the vinyl plants and everything, basically fucking them over. So like the whole thing has just been like a storm of chaos in a sense, and that is like the witch hunt on Reddit basically hasn't really helped matters in any regard either. So I don't know, like that's all I can say about it. But maybe like
Yeah.
we'll have Todd on one day and he can sort of go more in depth about things.
Defend himself.
Yeah. Todd also asks why are anime characters wishing death upon us. I guess
The
that's
fuck?
sort of what anime characters do in a sense. Uh, so two times reality says Fallout 3 and New Vegas are superior to 4 and 76. So yeah, I guess he's coming from the
Yeah.
same camp that I am in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like, I'm not one to like get angry about this kind of thing, so I respect
Oh yeah,
y'all's
me neither.
opinions.
Like definitely not. Like I
Yeah.
don't really care what people are into in that regard. Like
Yeah.
whenever it comes to like video games or books, music or whatever.
Not worth getting angry over.
Yeah, like I think a lot of people sort of do get angry about those things because they let's say like you insult like a musician that someone likes, they might like a person might take that to heart in a sense because they sort of associate their own like aesthetic that they project to the world with that music. So let's say if you've got like a fan of like I don't know, let's say like a fan of the band Sonic Youth or whatever, and you're like someone who hates Sonic Youth and you insult them and say like the shit or whatever, like
Yeah.
like that person might take it as a personal insult because they sort of like have like that aesthetic association with how they perceive themselves in the world as well. So I think that's sort of what like triggers that kind of emotional reaction in people. So I guess it's something to be conscious of, but also like people just need to sort of grow up in that regard, I think.
Yeah, like they need to stop making their like entire personality just about shit that they like consume.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of this chat has just been like the OESB debate, I suppose. But let's try and move on from
Todd is trying to bait me into
that.
shit. See that? God damn it.
I haven't got up to that bit yet. I don't think. Oh, so OESB's plugging some documentary about Floral Shop that you mentioned in the chat the other night that's apparently being worked on. So apparently some guy was sort of like tailing him around New York or hired a sleuth or something and has footage of him or whatever that's apparently going to come out in this documentary. So God knows what that's about.
The documentary about Floral Shop.
Yeah, about the whole Floral Shop vinyl controversy and such.
Oh man.
Yeah. So X is having a go at me now for associating with Todd. Well, the thing is, if I didn't associate with a lot of people, then this podcast would be quite boring because I'd have no one to talk to. So you should be thankful that I associate with many different people, as it will prove for a better podcast. But yeah, as I say,
Yeah.
like I said, my thoughts on Floral Shop and all that stuff earlier. So, Coca-Cola sends in a super chat of $5. Thank you very much, and they say, "You're gay and good at video games. Love you a lot." Is that like
Love
a
you
friend
too,
of yours
Pepper.
or something?
My girlfriend.
Oh right, okay. So you can't be very gay if it's your girlfriend, then.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to shout her out. Fucking listen to Flower on Business Casual. It's really good.
Oh,
By
so
Coca-Cola.
so she's like actually an artist.
Yes,
Oh,
she
okay.
made Sweden on globalization.
Oh right, okay. Oh, that was one of the better ones I thought actually, because
Yeah,
I was surprised because I thought that was like a sample, didn't I? And I was asking you about it, because it
yeah.
sort
No,
of
that
had
was
like
something
that
free.
saxophone line in, but it was like apparently it was like a VST or something. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty good one though. Uh, so OESB says, my lawyer is preparing a statement concerning Charles L's IQ score at this very moment. So looks like some legal issues are arising in the chat. Free refill says, "Hey David, hey free refills." Yeah, and we're gonna actually get free refills on here at some point in the near future, maybe this weekend. I'm not sure. Um, Broken Canyon says, Lyndon, I turned into a girl since the last time we had major contact.
Good job. Proud of you coming out as a. I'm assuming you're trans. So good job.
D-Sai said, God was great, he lived up to my expectations.
What the fuck?
How does it feel like sort of being known as God in a sense? Do you have like any like feelings about that?
Uh, I didn't know anyone knew me as God. I thought most people saw God as just, oh, that's a side project Lyndon made.
Yeah.
I'd love to be known as God though. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I guess I could change the title of the video to Canvas Episode 10 M and God if you want. Speaking of which, let's get into some simulation and God discussion. What we're sort of referring to is like a set of releases that Lyndon released under the name God, which was on Acid Medical. As he sort of alluded to earlier, it's like I guess like sort of like experimental sound collages made of like obscure YouTube videos and shit like that, and it's just like really fucked up and weird, as like anything on Acid Medical tended to be. But yeah, like you sort of had like a deeper concept behind that stuff, didn't you? Like, do you want to sort of like elaborate on what that was?
Oh yeah. This like the concept that I thought of it was probably the reason why it's my favorite like musical thing I've ever done. Where it's the concept behind it is that the music being played is music that the YouTube algorithm, the algorithm that like sets up videos and stuff like that. I kind of had a thought one day like the YouTube algorithm could someday become like sentient without anyone knowing and just,
Yeah.
like influencing tons of people because YouTube's become so powerful in a lot of ways and they can just influence people by like recommending only like videos they want you to watch and stuff like that. Like watch this video about this politician so you like don't
Yeah.
vote for him or something like that. And that concept kind of got stuck in my head and then I thought, what if it like, got like an artistic vision and just tried starting to make music and that was what it was. It just got a bunch of random videos like half the videos I sampled have like 10 views or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just like put them together as if like God is what the artificial intelligence would call itself or something like that, and would basically just try to like make music, and that's what I like imagine music to an artificial intelligence would sound like because it would just
Yeah.
get all these sounds like because the YouTube algorithm has so much stuff being pumped into it like it doesn't know like anything about
Yeah, like
art and
get what you mean. Sort of like like an ever-growing mass organism, sort of like the end of
yeah.
the film Akira, for example. Just
I've
like
never
ever
seen
growing,
that.
never stopping. Yeah, I suppose that's sort of like if you look at theories of like the universe and such about like how it's always like constantly expanding in that sense. Like you can sort of like look at these kind of things and as like a small scale replication of that in a way. So
Yeah.
maybe a YouTube algorithm will become God one day. Who knows?
I actually made another thing, but it was about the Gmail algorithm becoming sentient and trying to like uh date someone with one of those like old like grinder or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And I put that on Nirvana port. It was digital. That's what it was called.
yeah,
It's very minimal. It was just a bunch of loops I made.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like, have you seen like on Gmail where you get those sort of like automatic responses now?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what you're sort of like referring to, like that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
like
Yeah,
like it has to like there's an artificial intelligence that learns about like what's spam and what isn't and stuff, so it filters out things.
yeah,
And I just kind of imagine like just an unfiltered thing, just reading thousands and thousands of people's emails like every second, and it's
yeah.
just like learning from it, becoming sentient.
What do you think about like what like someone like Elon Musk has said about how like AI will pretty much take over the like the human race as such, and like that basically we'll sort of have to integrate within AI, within AI and technology if like we want to survive as a species and all that kind of thing. Is that like
I
something that is sort of like informed like your view on these things at all?
no, number one, I don't like Elon Musk. He's a fucking tool. But like I don't think we're ever gonna need to be like scared of artificial intelligence. I don't see artificial intelligence ever doing something like
Yeah,
you know negative to us, because it would basically just waking up one day and just randomly shooting your parents for no fucking reason. Just they're in my way. I wanna grow. It doesn't
yeah,
make much sense. And I mean, I guess you could argue like, oh well, to the artificial intelligence doesn't think like a human. It's like, yeah, but I feel if an artificial intelligence is like, smart enough to realize what it is, it would realize that without humans, it wouldn't exist, and it would probably respect us. And you
do you
know,
not think there's like the case of like there being a tipping point where like the AI has the power over the humans in a sense, and then like we're the ones who need to rely on the AI to exist, and then the AI sort of has like the power over us once it becomes sentient of that.
oh, I mean, definitely. Like humans are so reliant on technology. Like
Yeah,
if I was put into like a world like 10,000 years ago with nothing, I would fucking die like immediately. I would have no idea how to hunt or anything.
yeah, yeah,
And I think we'll become reliant on computers and artificial minds and stuff like that eventually. But at the same time, I also think humans will become part of those things. Will like connect our brains to the cloud and
yeah.
shit.
Well,
And
I suppose that's sort of exactly what Elon Musk says, though, 'cause he basically says like for us to survive is like a case of us basically integrating with the technology and becoming the technology itself. And like he sort of I remember on his Joe Rogan interview this year he said basically like cell phones for example are already like an external limb in a sense. Like we don't have to think as much about things anymore because we can just like
yeah,
go on Google on our phones and find out the answer to anything. um
yeah, there was a SCPG Gray. I can never remember his like the first three letters, but there's a video online that basically argues that like, you know, if you had to give like, let's say we live in a world where you could read minds, and if you had the choice between giving your phone and your brain to authorities with like complete control over it,
yeah,
like it's smarter for you to give your brain, because your phone knows more about you than your brain does, because your brain doesn't like remember shit, but your phone remembers literally everything you do, because it's always near you, it's
yeah,
always tracking you, it's always like, it knows what you said to your friend like
yeah, yeah,
2 years ago. Yeah.
yeah. It's quite creepy really. Like I don't think like as a species we've really thought through like sort of the consequences of that kind of thing. Like we don't really exist just temporarily anymore. We exist sort of like beyond time in this sense because there's all these like traces of us like everywhere at all times. It's
Yeah,
pretty weird, really. Yeah, and like that sort of leads on to like a whole other slew of problems in a way, but also, I guess like part of evolution is sort of like adapting to these new things and like evolving to higher states of being in a sense. So I guess that's where like the argument for basically integrating with these technologies is like the future that can't be
yeah.
stopped. It's
I
quite
would really only want to do it so I could Google stuff without looking at my phone.
yeah. So would you opt in to getting like a brain chip or whatever?
Oh, fucking hell yeah. I like as soon as I can, I want to get rid of my body. Like I fucking hate, human flesh. I want to be a machine. Like that's
Yeah.
so
So is that like so if you move to Ireland, like a lot of like the thing about Ireland is a lot of it's like really countryside based and green and organic and stuff. It's not
yeah.
like it doesn't have like the big like really huge cities like London, for example. Like Dublin's
Oh
a
yeah.
big city, but it's not like a huge city. Um, so like is that like there's sort of like a contrast there of like your sort of like desires to be like this person of the future and such, but like I suppose like Ireland is a bit. I don't want to say backwards because it's not backwards, but it's
Yeah.
it's a bit more of a quieter and like sort of dark. What's the word?
Well, I love like to compared to like cities and countryside. I guess I would prefer, countryside to cities because I don't like fucking constant
Yeah,
noise and stuff. But, the thing about, transhumanism is basically what we're talking about. Um,
yeah,
you don't need big cities to make that possible. You can just, have like a computer sitting in the back of your house,
yeah.
where
That's
you're
true.
uploading
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, I think a lot of people, like I suppose in the past, like moving towards the big cities would have been like something that people needed to do. But like with these advances in technology, like a lot of people who are interested in this kind of thing are actually moving out to like the countryside and like high up in the mountains and stuff. Like
Yeah.
there's a guy that I listen to called Ben Greenfield, who's like he calls himself like a biohacker, and he's like deeply invested in that stuff and like health and fitness.
Yeah.
Like for example, he won't use like any Wi-Fi in his house at all because he thinks it might affect his like his cells and stuff from like studies that have been done on it. But also like he's like really future conscious and stuff, and he's always like trying like new drugs and like new technologies that can like advance him as a human being. Um, yeah, but yeah, like he lives like high up in the mountains in Washington, like in the northwest of America. So it's like, and I think like a lot of like Facebook executives have like left Silicon Valley and gone out to move up into that area as well. So yeah, it's quite interesting, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start going through the chat anyway, because we should have a few more questions in about now. I'm actually just gonna pull it up on my phone because it seems to glitch out a lot on my computer. So,
Oh,
do you want
Wolf's
to?
in the chat.
What's that?
Oh, I see Wolf's in the chat. It's been forever since I've talked
Oh,
with him.
okay, yeah, I'm gonna get through everything in the chat now. But yeah, do you want to give like your final thoughts on that while I sort of pull up the chart and go through these questions?
Uh, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna become like a viable solution, and
Yeah,
not anytime soon. Like maybe like 50 years from now. Like I plan on doing it to myself. Like I think I'll be alive, but I
yeah,
don't think it's gonna be any. And then humans are suck at predicting the future, so I'm probably wrong about that in many ways.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Uh, so we've actually had quite a lot of messages, so it's gonna I'm probably gonna end up missing quite a few questions and comments because of this, because like the chat's pretty much spazzing out all over the place again. But I'll start about here. Cosmic Hyperlap says, "Dudes are pretentious. Goddamn unsubbed." Yeah, so I guess we're pretentious because we're having an
oh no.
interesting conversation. Um, uh, uh, Ouija Mario asks, are furries the final level of transhumanism?
Okay, like, yeah, because like the thing is, imagine all these people uploading their brains to the internet. Do you
Yeah.
think they pretend to be human, or do you think they're going to be furries when they do that? Like, fucking half of them are going to just be their persona because it's their very first time they're ever going to be able to experience that. There's this really cool picture that I found. Let me get it. I posted it in my server a million years ago. And I just kind of see this as like the future of humanity in a lot of ways. Like here,
Yeah, go and drop it
I
to
don't.
me in the chat, and then I'll put it up on the stream. Just give me a moment. Okay, I just need to make sure that this isn't gonna. Yeah, I think this is safe enough to not get banned off YouTube.
Oh
Sure.
yeah, it's suggestive, but it's not pornographic.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna just load this up now. Give me one moment. All right, so this is the image that God is talking about right now. So do you want to sort of go into what you mean about this being like the future of humanity?
Well, oh man, because I'm a furry. I like furry art and stuff like that. I'm not like one of those hardcore people that buys the $4,000 suits and stuff, but
Yeah.
I can like if I was uploaded into the internet, I would not want to present myself because like when you interact with other, because I imagine when you when you like talk with other people on the internet, you wouldn't just you wouldn't be just like two people standing in the room. You'd want to be
Yeah.
you're what you're most comfortable in. So I could see a bunch of transgender people would be their preferred gender, and then like furries would be just their persona, and I think it would get way more extreme. But
well,
like,
did you ever see any clips from that VR chat game that came out? So it's sort of like the start of this year, like, and it had the what was it, the Ugandan Knuckles thing going on with it. Like, did you ever watch any? Did you ever watch any of like the streams of that at all? Because that was sort of like the complete chaos and insanity of that could be like like a more realistic version of what you're talking about in a sense. Like,
like
like if you think about like the sort of like the hive mind and singularity of like all human minds coming together, like this sort of like a reflection of chaos that came in like VR chat or even something like Twitter, for example, might be a bit more realistic than like these sort of like organized I don't know how to call it, like furry or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Yeah, so like the future might be people running around as Ugandan Knuckles more so than like
well, like people in the VR chat, there were still a ton of people that were furries, right?
Yeah, like, yeah, and there was like anime characters and all that stuff as well, and video game characters, and yeah. So I do get what you mean, yeah, and like I sort of appreciate that in a sense as well, like something like Henry Moonchild would have been like an example of that in a way. Like it's sort of like a projection of a fantasy or like like a fictional world that you're developing, and like subjecting others to in a sense. But then like you can sort of like incorporate those fantasies into like yourself as a person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like I suppose like furries is quite similar in that regard. So Bliss Monkey asks, I don't know anything about Emotion X. What do you do? When did you start? What are you doing next? And so on. Please post recommended tracks. So do you want to just sort of like give a bit more of an oversight of yourself as an artist and a musician and all that stuff?
Man, I always hate getting this question because it's such a like I don't know what to say. Like I made a bunch of music for Bloody Carpet or BLCR, which is what it is now. Like when it first came out, I did with a lot of stuff with Acid Medical. The aliases that I think most people would know me with is like Emotion X is probably the less known one. Dark Nature, which is like a bunch of Japanese text, but a lot of people knew it was just Dark Nature because that's what it translated to.
Yeah.
Medical to not a very much. 2047, which is probably my most like well-known thing, but I was, the whole thing about me slowing down Solarfield's music was yeah, that whole thing. I try to distance myself from 2047 because, that was not pleasant, getting exposed like that.
Is that something that still bothers you, or are you sort of like over it?
No.
No.
I know I joke about it all the time. It's
Yeah.
just
Because I suppose like you were sort of like a lot younger then, and like it might have affected you like a bit more emotionally than it would have today. You know what I mean?
yeah, I like the whole thing. It was like yeah, I was 15. I was 15 years old, and I just wanted like people to like my music and like me, and that's like what I did.
Yeah.
I think I've improved a lot because I stopped doing that shit. Number one, like unlike some other people in the scene, but it was like it was I guess it was a hard way to learn like the real world where I can't just steal other people's stuff and then take credit for it. It was pretty fucked up for me to do that, and
Yeah.
I learned I guess the best thing I could spin it is it is like it was a learning experience.
Yeah.
And the thing is, 2047 Snow was not the only time I did that where I slowed down other people's shit and just said, oh, I totally made this.
Yeah. Well,
I delete that.
Go on, sorry.
That's why a lot of people like ask like, oh, why is this album gone from Bloody Carpet? It's because I deleted it because that's what it was, and I was just fucking ashamed about it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, it was like because it sort of came out of the vaporwave scene. Like, a lot of that is to be expected. It's sort of what vaporwave founded itself on, So there's like there's no real shame in it in a sense. It's just like because like some of it was actually interesting. Like, I remember there was one 2047 that you released on a label called Velvet Bazaar, which I actually listened to about 20 times or something. It was like it was one of my favorite releases that came out that year. I think it was like 2015 or something.
Yeah.
But like, and I know that was just like slowed down music as well. But I think I heard like the original track, and I actually much preferred the slowed down version that you did. So.
Yeah, I totally like. It's so funny about Solar Field's music.
Yeah.
His music sounds so much better slowed down. It's fucking ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
any song you take from him, just slow it down and it just sounds better.
Yeah, I think that's true of a lot of music. There's like there's something about like when you slow down a song, like there's sort of this like deeper quality that comes out in the music, like because like it's hitting like the bass tones much more deeply and stuff, and it's like it cuts off like the high end, so it becomes like a lot more relaxing and shit.
Yeah,
that's sort of because like a lot of the way like Telepath made music was similar to that, like pitching it right down and like creating these high ends out of like the reverb and delay and stuff instead.
And then he he loops the good shit over and over again.
Yeah. So like what's the difference really in like you like slowing down a song and like Telepath slowing it down but just like looping it and adding effects? Like I mean like there's sort of like this fine line where it becomes like acceptable or unacceptable to people, but like in my opinion it doesn't really matter either way, I suppose.
Well, I'm gonna argue against myself here and just say like the reason why there's a difference is because literally all I did was just slow it down. I didn't add any effects to it. I didn't change it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it took me like literally like a few seconds just to stretch,
Yeah.
And but what Telepath does.
The thing is, like, sorry to interrupt you, but like, I think like what I always liked about your music and art and stuff is like you always had like this real like vision for it that sort of resonated like really strongly like with me and like with a lot of other people as well, because like you can look at like the vaporwave scene in any regard and like find like 100 albums of this sense come out every single day, but like yours like hit the spot with a lot of people, as did like Floral Shop, which keeps coming up in this chart and it's pissing me off. Like I'm pretty much gonna like stick a word filter on the phrase Floral Shop and ban any further discussion of it because it's doing my head in to hear about it every single day. Yeah.
Only album to come out.
Yeah.
Ever.
All right, I'll move on to the next questions anyway. Music Doc, I suppose that's Hans, isn't it? Hans asks, Lyndon, will you talk about fruit? Is that sort of
Okay.
like an in joke that you have or something?
Well, yeah, I fucking just despise fruit. I don't like any fruit. I guess the only fruit I like, because it's technically a fruit, like tomatoes and like avocado and stuff, but like apples and grape and fucking
Yeah,
hate it. It's disgusting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's an in joke.
Apparently I need to speak up a bit. Let me just. Yeah, there's a problem with this microphone. Like, I need like sort of an amplifier. But yeah, I'll try and speak a little bit louder or closer to the microphone. But yeah, as Swanky Orc points out in the chat, I'm called M now. So if you want to refer to me as M in future, then I'll answer any questions. So Wolf says the real problem for floral shop people is that they decided to buy a floral shop vinyl in the first place. I can't say I disagree with that.
I knew like I don't want to shit talk Todd, but as soon as like that whole thing like dropped, I knew it was just gonna be like dripping with drama, and I completely avoided it. It
Yeah,
was something was gonna fucking happen, and sure did.
yeah. Like
I
the thing with the thing with floral shop is like you could argue that it's like a completely cursed album in a sense. Like there's just nothing good ever seems to come out of it. It's just like non-stop. Let's have a look. Charles L says, I bought Dragon Soul. Love your music, man. Thank you very much. Right, I'm just skipping over any more floral shop stuff because it's getting on my nerves. Right, I'm sorry if I'm gonna miss some questions, but I'm just scrolling right down to get past all this floral shop shit in the chat so I can get back to something a bit more interesting. Don't please ask when will Dream Catalogue become sentient. I suppose that's quite an interesting, like aside from what we were talking about earlier. But I don't think Dream Catalogue will become sentient anytime soon. But maybe in like 10 or 20 years or so. Who knows?
like how you said that so confidently.
Yeah, I suppose like I just think about these things quite quickly and give my honest opinions. Hot Mustard Gas 20 says Elon Musk is overrated. So I suppose you don't like Elon Musk, he said earlier. What is it that you don't like about him?
He's like, oh, he that like image of Steve Buscemi like holding a fucking skateboarding in a high school. It's like, how you do, fellow kids. I just get that feeling from him every time he talks. It's like he like literally is like, if he was born in the 1800s, he would just be a robber baron. Like that's all he is just a businessman, and he like acts like, oh man, I love the dank memes. I shot a car into space. I'm super fucking funny and off the wall. And then he's like touts like acting like he's changing the world when all he does is just make luxury cars and rocket ships. Like that's doing anything at all. Like
yeah.
I don't fucking like him at all.
Well, just for the record, I actually do like him myself. Like I think not so much for like the humor or memes or whatever. I just sort of enjoy these kind of characters being out in the world. I don't know. It just makes the time a bit more interesting in a sense. Because like there hasn't really been if you look back in history, there hasn't really been any like really famous sort of like scientists and technologists since I guess like the early 1900s. I mean, like aside from someone like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, I suppose. But yeah, like it's sort of like I appreciate like those kind of figures like being like prominent in society, because it just makes a change from like the usual shit celebrities that are about. But yeah, like
Yeah,
even if you
I
don't like
guess
agree with everything he does or says or whatever, like it's it's a
yeah.
change from Kim Kardashian or whatever, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess him compared to like Kanye West, I prefer him,
Oh
you
well,
know.
I actually like Kanye as well, but like yeah, I guess I don't want to sort of get sidetracked into a debate on that. Maybe we'll have I was sort of saying on the podcast that, like a night or two ago that Kanye has sort of been ripping off my gimmick all year. Like I still believe
Dra-
that.
Dragon Energy.
Yeah, exactly. Like Dragon Energy Kanye is straight from the old school HK playbook, I think.
Yeah.
As is his approach to rap music, which is a lot more like flap music these days. But, but even so, like I still like him. Like he's pretty funny. Cacola says completely in love with 50% of the people in this podcast. So I guess that's in reference to you, since that's your girlfriend.
Yeah.
uh, so what about when you move to Ireland? Are you gonna take your girlfriend with you there? Like, what's the situation with that?
Oh yeah, we're going together.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, like did you know like in Ireland they've got like that's sort of where like Apple and Google and stuff have set up shop for like their European operations, because like they have like really like low corporate tax there, so like a lot
Yeah.
of the Silicon Valley giants have pretty much all set up in Ireland. Like, is that
Yeah.
something that is like attracting you there as well?
Yeah, like that was that like that whole like tech industry around Dublin and stuff. That is definitely like a fucking like huge reason why I want to move.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
initially the reason why I wanted to go to Sweden, but it's so much more pronounced in Ireland. The whole tech industry and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh,
Like, I don't think there's what's going on in Sweden like that. Like, I know Propeller had do make a reason are based in Sweden, but I don't really know any other companies like that.
there's like stuff like Skype and Spotify are like that's
Oh
where
yeah,
they
Spotify.
started.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but those are like that's just two companies. There is like a big programming industry, like around Stockholm and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that was one of the reasons. It's also just Nordic culture super cool to me.
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, really. Like a lot, like it's quite interesting how a lot of that stuff didn't end up in London or like around like the London area for some reason. But I suppose it's just because London's so expensive these days that people don't want to be
Yeah.
there. Um. Uh. So there's like a end of world rave chat going on in the chat. Is that did you like end of world rave? Like I think he sort of had an adverse reaction at first, but did you ever sort of
Yeah.
come around to it eventually?
Pretty much every album Wolf makes, I hate like the like first time I listen to it, but like if I listen to it more than once, I like come to love it. So I love End of World Rave. I love what was the first thing he released on Dream
Oh,
under
I can't even remember the title now.
Deep Red
Deep Red
Rising.
Rising. Yeah,
I like that too. Like I hated it at first, but
yeah.
it's grown on me a lot. I like it now.
Yeah, the thing about Wolf's music is like it's just he's got this like really distinguished way of writing melodies and stuff that sort of gets stuck
Yeah.
in your head. So like some of his like melodic work, like especially like the track "Cocaine" on End of
Oh
World
yeah,
Rave, it's like just gets
that's the
stuck
one
in your
everyone
head. So
remembers.
yeah, it's sort of like the Macintosh Plus 420 thing of hard vapor.
Yeah.
Let me get my melodica and see if I can play it. So I know it's in C minor, since he pretty much writes all his music in C minor. So I'm just gonna try and figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like a round of applause from the chat for figuring that out so fast. Thank you. Right. So Machno182 asks Wolf, what's your favorite album you've made? Do you wanna take that? No. Lewis says smash your phones, everyone. Yeah.
Good idea.
I've actually smashed a couple of phones in my time. I threw my iPhone at the wall earlier this year. When I was in a bit of a state, but it didn't break it. Uh,
People are getting mad about the furry art. Keep it up.
yeah,
Don't remove it. It's great.
I might replace the thumbnail with this actually when the stream is wrapped up. Oh, so Wolf asks, "Hey Lyndon, are you still a socialist?"
Yeah, but I don't really want to get into politics or anything like that.
All right, fair enough. We might do like a politics stream in future or something, since but yeah, I don't really like to talk about politics very much.
Yeah.
Free Refill says, Lyndon, my question is, what do you want for Christmas? And the same question to So do you want to take that first?
I want a turtleneck, but I want it to be like, I want the neck to be like really big, or like a real big fat turtleneck.
What, like sort of like a Henry Moonchild turtleneck, or more?
Yeah, like that, but thicker.
Yeah.
You know, I want one of those, and I want it in like either black or like a dark color, like dark red or something.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
I suppose if you're gonna go for like the Silicon Valley and Dublin kind of look, like, like you wanna get that Steve Jobs turtleneck going on, but maybe in like a shade of Irish green or something like that, I suppose.
What do you want?
Me? Oh, God. I don't know. I just fucking hate Christmas, and like I just sort of hope for it to end as soon as possible every time it comes around. Always ends up being like one of my most depressing times of the year. So yeah, so I don't know. I guess yeah, I think I've sort of been like buying a lot of new clothes lately, so maybe I'll try a turtleneck and see how it looks. But
hell yeah,
I don't think it'll.
Turtlenecks are the future. They're so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's no harm in me trying and seeing how it looks. So OESB remarks, there are beautiful women in Ireland who will call you love as a nickname. So yeah, did you know that like Irish people sort of like call people love? So that's yeah, it's sort of like common in Ireland and like the north of England for love to be like a bit of a nickname.
I never really understood why people, say like, oh, the people there are really, they're really attractive. Like that's like, you can find just as many attractive people in any country as you can find like ugly people. I don't understand that. Disagree?
I'm just thinking about it, like it's a bit of an interesting subject, really. Yeah, I suppose like each country has sort of like a different context where like attractiveness operates in.
Yeah.
So in that regard, like you could say that you're right, but also like I suppose like other people would say like certain countries are more attractive than others, but like obviously that's like subjective, and the people who are from those countries are probably more likely going to find those countries more attractive than others, if you know what I mean. So yeah,
I guess that's a good point.
Yeah, so it just depends on the way you're looking at it, I suppose. Like either way is right. So Charles L says, OESB, grow up.
Oh. I don't know.
OESB says, Charles L, thanks for the money. It helped me get Crocs for everyone for Christmas. So I suppose OESB is getting Crocs.
I want some rainbow ones.
Crocs and turtlenecks are the future, it seems.
Hell yeah.
D-Sai says, I sure hope emaciated furries aren't the future. Is that like a are you looking to sort of become emaciated in that sense, or like? Are you,
I don't know what the fuck I'd be to represent if I was in a computer. I've never actually thought about that.
Yeah. So have you not
I
got
don't
like
know.
a persona that you go to, or are you these sort of like jump around?
Oh, yeah, but it's not like a lot of furries like have this strong like emotional connection with them, and I don't. I just like the art that I get done for
Yeah.
them. I don't really identify as them.
Have you got like any particular favorite artists? Because
Oh, definitely.
like
Like
one that I liked was Tacklebox, because like when I was running the Henry when I was running Dream Catalogue as Henry Moonchild, and I was like following all the furries and retweeting them and stuff, I sort of had a little bit of a foray into furry culture in that regard, and like Tacklebox is like one like as an artist, like he's like pretty great artist, like whether you appreciate furry art or not.
yeah, he's a really good artist. It's funny how it's a real like big fucking like statement about how furries operate as like this like culture. He has been basically like shunned because he drew cub porn or
Oh, did
like yeah,
I'll
cub is
yeah, I know what cub porn is, so I'm gonna remove my advocacy of Tacklebox for that.
it sucks because he is like a fucking amazing artist, but
yeah,
you
like
know, yeah.
he's really skillful drawer and stuff, but yeah, I'm not gonna advocate that in any regard.
My by far my favorite furry artist is Punkey. It's like Punkey. I got art from him one time. It was like $200, but it was so fucking worth it. Like he is such an amazing artist. Like he's currently he's making art for this one JRPG right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just really really good at doing it. It's this is kind of like off topic, but I really do think a lot of like future like big artists that people look back, they see like like big artists that weren't really big at the time. I really do think like a lot of those God, who's that person that cut off his ear? What was his name?
Oh, Van Gogh.
Yeah, there are a lot of Van Goghs in the
Van
furry
Gogh,
community.
yeah.
And like Punkey is definitely one of them. He's told like eventually he's gonna have like there's gonna be like a museum like paintings of him in like of his art and stuff like that.
Although if like your predictions are true, there probably won't be many physical museums. Like a lot of the museums and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it'll be on the internet, and that's where the reverence will take place, I suppose.
you're probably right.
Yeah.
Another artist that I like is Cassette Recorder, or Cassette is what they usually go by. They tend to draw more, provocative art, but they're still really good. Like their art, it's always has a lot of like sex in it, but I think their art just has a lot of like it's just beautiful to look at, even though there's like two squirrels fucking each other or something.
I've noticed that the people listening has dropped down from about 40 to 29 as we got into the furry discussion. So
okay, let's move on, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty much open to having the furry discussion on here. So if people don't want to listen to that, that's they're just being closed-minded in a sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose we'll move on from that now. Anyway, there's a lot of Ugandan Knuckles talk in the chat now. Wolf says Ugandan Knuckles is my persona. Have you got any thoughts?
I thought it was a wolf.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, what happened to the wolf?
Wolf pack.
Yeah. The old Drivo says Henry Moonchild was ultra chad. Yeah, I guess he was in some ways, but also not in other ways. I got like
he was the virgin.
Like I was gonna, I guess the virgin would have been Martin Smith, but then Martin Smith became the Chad to HM's virgin, I suppose. Eventually, after Martin Smith had this big breakout moment with Flap Style.
He started going to the gym.
Yeah. Music Doc says bloody carpets forever. So do you want to sort of like talk about bloody carpet, because I think a lot of people don't really know about that.
Oh, I think I'd like to think that a lot of people know what BLCR is because
Yeah. I'd imagine like at least half the people or a bit more listening to this will be aware of BLCR Laboratories, which is Paul Rubin's record label. But that actually
yeah
started out as Bloody Carpet, which was like you and Paul Rubin running together.
yeah like I initially started Bloody Carpet as it was sort of a ripoff of Tokyo Exchange in a lot of ways. The way like
Yeah.
the I try to like replicate its kind of like very vague and weird um like like style, but then it kind of just grew into its own thing. And the re the reason, literally the reason why we changed the name from Bloody Carpet to BLCR was because Telepath didn't want to be associated with with a label that had blood in the name, and a bunch of the logo was a blood smeared on the carpet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we changed the name. I probably went way too far with this. I started making this like whole like fucking like universe and story behind like Bloody Carpet and stuff. Like the whole idea like I had an idea of like everything working in threes. Like there's gonna be three big comp albums. There's stories, which honestly this off topic, but it's like my favorite compilation ever. Stories.
Yeah.
Even though half the tracks are mine, still it's amazing.
Yeah, I like that a lot when
2057.
it came out. Yeah.
And then I had the idea of a future release, which was just going to be like called Black or Void or Zero or something like that. And the
Yeah.
cover was just going to be completely black, and the tape was going to have nothing fucking on it except A and B on both the sides. And the tape was going to just have like a black J card, a black front, nothing on it. And it was kind of like, the idea was, Bloody Carpet was kind of like raw, and like I kind of saw it as like the past, and then I saw BLCR as the present, and I saw what I was wanting to do was push like rename BLCR to Black Records into to the future, where it was just all a bunch of weird shit, a bunch of like, because I think that's like really more futuristic than anything is like just like nothing, like because everything dies eventually, and
Yeah.
and
That's like it seems to be like a common theme in like a lot of what you like your concepts behind like your art and such, like
yeah
this idea of like continual growth into like nothingness basically. Like it
yeah
seems to like come up time and time again. Because I remember like 2047 had like a sort of similar backstory that you created like around this character who sort of like grew into like immortality or something, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, there is that whole story. I tried to do that to like revitalize 2047. I even I took a bunch of albums that was just sold slowed down shit and like remade them with original stuff, and
Yeah.
that didn't. I eventually was just like, this whole alias just has so much baggage attached to it. I just wasn't worth keeping going. So I just
Yeah.
kind of cut it off and deleted all the stuff, and then renamed all the remaining albums made by 2047 on BLCR and then TKX with different things. Like it was Dream Tech and then Drain were the two things that I used.
Yeah. But
And then
it's just interesting though about, like how you go sort of keep going back to the same sort of theme in different capacities of like the idea of like the like constant evolution and growth upwards into like basically like
yeah,
God or nothingness or what, or the void or whatever you want to call it. It's like like why do you think that is? That like why do you think that's like a constant theme in your music and work and art and such?
I don't know. A lot of the, I guess like the first like few years I was making music, I was like really depressed. I was a depressed teen kid. Like for the longest fucking time, I like had no friends. Like I didn't talk to anyone for several years, basically. And then like the vaporwave scene literally was like the first time I had actual friends in a long time, and I was just in this super depressed state like all the fucking time. I wasn't suicidal or anything, but I think I kind of projected that in a
Yeah.
lot of my music without realizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of just like the idea of everything devolving into nothing, because the thing is like, if like you can't evolve from, if you have nothing, you can't really evolve from there. There's nothing past nothing. You can't reset, you can't redo. It's fucking dead.
Yeah. So like you used to consider yourself like an atheist, didn't you? And then you sort of like changed your views on that kind of thing when like you sort of I think you mentioned to me once you started like reading about like the ideas about like the simulation and like
Yeah.
singularity and all that stuff. So is that sort of like what changed your mind on these things, like just sort of researching that kind of thing a lot?
No, I mean, like, I'm not depressed as I was like fucking several years ago. But the reason I wasn't depressed because I was an atheist. It's just like, as I like kind of evolved from being an atheist, because I still call myself an atheist, because it's like, if I like talk with someone and they're like, oh, what is your religion or something that just comes up, I don't want to explain it to them,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
just say
yeah.
I'm an atheist. Yeah, it's close enough for them. They really want to know if I'm a Christian or not, so that's that's what I say.
Yeah.
And
So I
uh
suppose like it's like you're not a nihilist. You sort of believe in like
no.
purpose and meaning and stuff in a sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a nihilist, and that was like at first I really enjoyed nihilism, but I
Yeah.
kind of it kind of it the problem with it is just drains you. It like if it just it because the thing is, it's just believing that there's nothing after any, like, there's just everything's meaningless, and it just kind of drains your life.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
it's a,
I actually thought a lot about this year, like pretty much all year, and I'm sort of gonna tease it for a future episode. That like I sort of keep mentioning on the podcast this past week that I'm gonna do like sort of like an episode like discussing my thoughts on like spirituality, nihilism, atheism, God, whatever.
yeah.
So I'm gonna do like a full episode on that soon and clarify like my own thoughts on that subject. But we could be here for like hours, like if we sort of get into that. So I suppose we'll just leave it about there. But yeah, I'll get back into some more comments now. Uh, so Vio Drivo says Henry Moonchild hanged himself in his mum's wardrobe. That's not true. Uh, Henry Moonchild still lives on somewhere. Like I think like Richie Raccoon sort of posted like an audio file on the Dream Catalogue SoundCloud detailing how Henry goes to Argentina or Uruguay every time he has a bit of a breakdown. So I'd imagine I'd
Richie
imagine
Raccoon.
Henry Moonchild is probably living it up down in Argentina and Buenos Aires or something right now. Actually,
Oh,
speaking of like other countries and stuff, like one of your big interests is like flags. So do you want to sort of like go into like why you're so interested in flags?
oh man, I don't really know what got me interested in it, but it kind of just I just kind of got really into it, and it kind of evolved into me just being interested in like world history and world geography and stuff like that, and world politics.
Yeah,
And I don't know, I just it's a really weird thing to know, but like very little people would be able to tell you like what flag is what if you like looked at like a wall of like every flag of the world or something. And it's just,
yeah.
I guess it's kind of nice to know that like I'm one of the like the very few people on this planet that know anything about flags.
So could you like literally look at any flag and name the country?
Not okay. I know a lot, but I definitely don't know everyone, because there's so
Yeah.
much,
Let,
and
let
they're
me let
always
me test you.
changing.
Let me test you. I'm gonna put one up on the stream now,
Sure.
and you tell me if you know which flag this is.
On the stream.
Yeah, like give me a moment. I'm just sort of getting it. I'm
Okay.
just getting it off Google now.
I get it. I don't want to be like, touting my skills and then get it fucking wrong immediately.
Yeah, yeah. Live test now. Okay, so what country is this?
Uh, it's loading.
Yeah, well,
Oh, that's Vatican City. That's
yeah,
easy.
that's right. Yeah, it's the Vatican. Yeah, I've actually been there as well. So
I want to go there someday. That's be cool as hell.
yeah, like a lot of
If
people don't actually know the Vatican is its own separate city-state within Rome in Italy. But yeah, that's the official flag of the Vatican.
I want to, I one thing about the one you're
Don't you
showing,
think?
that's
Well, sorry to interrupt you, but don't you think this is a little
oh.
bit messed up having like this fairy art with the with the with the Vatican flag?
Doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm gonna just leave that there. It's a bit messed up. Right.
uh, that flag that you have, it's actually wrong. It's supposed to be 2 by 1. It's supposed to be 1 by 1, and that's 2 by 1, I think.
Oh right,
Vatican
okay. Oh
City
yeah,
flag is
yeah,
one
I
by
see.
one.
Yeah, I can see the proper ones come up in the Google image search result.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's so you actually beat me on that question then. Yeah, I'm sort of I know a lot about flags as well, but I think it's sort of because I've always been into football. And you like with football, like there's so many like international players from all around the world. You sort of get into into all that stuff. I suppose like through playing like video games like FIFA or whatever, like you'll see
Oh
like a
yeah.
lot of different flags and such. But yeah, like I've also got like a really keen interest in world history and like geography and geopolitics and all that stuff as well. So like we've got like similar interests in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll carry on with the chat anyway because I think we fell like quite far behind. Um, so OESB says even though he created a Death to Todd account on Reddit, I think Lyndon has been one of the best guests thus far on Canvas.
What is he I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh,
I'm
so
being serious.
apparently you an account on Reddit called Death to Todd.
I'm definitely not saying I didn't. But because I made that one account Shima33 fan when I was just I don't know why
Oh,
I
is
didn't
that
like
you?
Shima. Yeah, Shima is such a sweet person. I don't know why the fuck I did that. Like he never really did anything. He's just kind of awkward. Shima's a good person, but I don't know that fucking Death to Todd thing. I don't know what he's talking about. Genuinely
Okay.
don't. But I totally could have done it and just forgotten about it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he said that you've been one of the best guests thus far, which I'd actually agree with. It's been quite an interesting discussion overall, I think.
Good to hear.
Yeah. Uh, Bliss Monkey says, I love these interviews. Being new to the scene, every name they drop, I get to go and listen to for the very first time. Good stuff. Yeah, that's sort of like the point of this. It's like my idea like behind Canvas as a whole is sort of to like expand horizons in a sense and like introduce people to new things and such, which is why this Saturday I think we're gonna have a flat Earth expert on to go into a bit of flat Earth discussion, which should be quite interesting.
I'm definitely gonna turn into that. This
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, like we're definitely looking to move beyond just like music and stuff into all other areas. I've completely lost my place in the chat now, so I'm sorry if I've missed any questions. It's just the chat's moving so fast that I can't like keep up with everything. Ouija Mario says Floral Shop 2 is better than Floral Shop 1. I agree with that.
I do too. I think Floral Shop 5 is the best though.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. You were part of the Floral Shop record label back in the day.
Oh god, it like, yeah. There is like some drama attached to that pretty recently, but I don't want to get into
Oh, is
it.
there? Okay, oh, yeah.
It kind of had like blends into the acid medical drama.
Oh right,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I suppose
Yeah.
like the most interesting thing that came out from that was that what was it called? Well, there was two actually. There was that there was like an album dedicated to Wolf, which I actually have a cassette copy of somewhere.
Yeah,
What was that called again? It was like
Columbine Nightmare Shop.
oh yeah, Columbine Nightmare Shop. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
made that
I've got a
initially as
copy of
like
that on tape. Go on. Sorry, what were you
we
saying?
we like it was a group effort who made that. We like made that initially because we like used to hate Wolf, but like I like him now, so I just think it's funny as like a remnant of the past,
Yeah, definitely. And there was also Never Stop Creating by Oscar Official as well. That was Oscar Fickle, I think it's correctly pronounced. Yeah, that was another good release on the Floral Shop record label. But for the most part, I haven't really took a deep dive into Floral Shop records.
It's just dumb shit.
Yeah. um, Bliss Monkey says or asks, what is your book project about? How many pages? And where's your favorite place to write? So I don't really want to talk too much about what the book's about yet, because like it's something I just sort of want to do and put out there rather than like talk about it too much before it's done. But my favorite place to write is actually on my phone. Like I do most of my writing on my phone just when I'm like out and about and stuff. Like I sort of get like ideas for like scenes or dialogue or just like general writing or like just ideas and stuff that I take notes down. And I write it all down on like a note program. And then basically what I'm gonna do is essentially piece it all together on my computer sometime soon. But I'm sort of procrastinating about that at the moment. Javier Cook Base says Elon Musk is the Thomas Edison of our generation. I can see some similarities in that regard.
I guess like we could both see it because I when I think of Thomas Edison, I think of like this guy that stole fucking everything and didn't actually invent anything and just got rich off of other people's ideas.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
But I mean, he did.
You could argue that about like any like sort of head of a corporation.
Yeah.
Like they create like the foundation for other people to operate within, and then like bring it together in a sense as like a mass organism. Don't know. It's just sort of depends on the way you look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think like Thomas Edison like stole a lot of ideas from like Tesla or something, didn't he? Or I can't remember.
Yeah, like Tesla. He
Yeah.
stole the light bulb from someone.
Yeah.
I don't
Like
really know much.
what I've read about him is like he used to like sort of file patents for inventions that other people had made and pretty much like make all the money off it that other people would have otherwise made.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know like the full history enough to like make a fair comment about it. Kakola says Kanye is light. Well, I think Kanye's got his sort of his own thing going on, but like I say, he's definitely ripped off some things from me. God, I'm really falling behind on the chat, so I'm gonna race through this stuff as quick as possible now. D-Sai says, "Hey, could we get the fairy fan art off the screen? I'm sorry, but I can't do that right now." Oh, I did get a round of applause for the cocaine performance earlier, so thank you very much for that. Face Chain says, "I'm getting tired of the music and vaporwave related questions." Yeah, I think I've got some agreement with that. Cute Swaggy pastes a bunch of fox emojis in the chat, so I guess Holy Swag's persona would be a fox.
This is it's off topic, but I can see Hans is like posting a bunch of art from like pictures from I've used in my album covers, and I'm just kind of impressed that he has all this stuff that I don't even have on my computer anymore.
Yeah, I barely have even have most of my stuff, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
like I feel like as soon as it's like being released and stuff, like I don't really have any use to keep it on my computer anymore. So I probably I end up deleting a lot of it. Yeah, we're coming up to 98 minutes streaming now, so I guess we'll probably try and wrap things up in the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. So I'm just gonna keep going through these questions as quick as possible.
Alright.
In fact, I'm gonna play one more song that you sent. If I can just find it again. Yeah, so this is another song from Emotion X. This is the track. Oh, it's actually called Bloody Carpet, and it's part of the release A Skyless Future by Emotion X, which you can find at emotionx.bandcamp.com. Alright, so that was the track Bloody Carpet by Emotion X, which is part of the album A Skyless Future on the Emotion X Bandcamp page. So we're going to be back for the next 15 minutes to cover just as many questions as we can fit in. I suppose we'll just try and race through them now. Yeah, so are you like still working on music and stuff, or are you like doing other things these days?
No, like, man, I kind of got sick of, making albums. I can't force myself into making stuff because if I did,
Yeah.
it would just come out like garbage. Really, the last musical thing I can see myself ever doing is globalization. I thought about, because you kind of brought up the idea of a sequel. Making a sequel would just ruin the first one. I'm not gonna do a sequel or anything. So really, globalization is the last thing. And
Yeah.
what I do now is I honestly, my creative output is just YouTube videos. I just talk over stuff.
Oh, so have you got like a YouTube channel?
Yeah,
Do you want to like
that's what
plug that at all, or
you want me, what?
do you want to like plug your YouTube channel at all while you're on here?
Sure. It's Lindenbot on YouTube. Like, I'm probably just gonna change Lindenbot to Lindenweir soon. It's not supposed to mean anything.
Yeah. So are you
Here,
just doing like sort of like game streams and talking over them and stuff?
no, they're more like they're not they're more like reviews. I don't want to do let's plays or anything like that here. I'll just
So like
I
video game reviews, is it? Or
yeah,
yeah,
sort of. Where I try to find like something I find about like a game that I think is kind of interesting.
yeah.
I linked my YouTube channel with my YouTube channel, which is I kind of silly that I did that, but I kind of just make videos like about video games. I'm working on a video game. I'm working on a video
Yeah.
about Mirror's Edge and about how like nostalgia affects how you enjoy games and stuff like that. And I'm gonna because I have like this huge emotional attachment to the first Mirror's Edge, but
Yeah,
not the second one at
that's
all.
something that I have to something like Final Fantasy VII as well. That was a game that made a really big impact on me when I was younger. So like I'm like when I play it today, like I'm a lot more forgiving of things that are sort of like outdated with it that I wouldn't be with like modern games and such. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
so I
like
suppose that's like the same for you with something like Mirror's Edge, I suppose.
yeah, like well, it's not just Mirror's Edge. It's just when I look back, I'm also gonna be kind of like talking about how like I used to have, I kind of still do, but it's much less extreme. Used to have this horrible lying problem where I lied about nearly everything because I just hated myself and I wanted to come off as cool. That was like part of the reason why I made that Snow album, was because I was ashamed of myself and I didn't want to make actual music,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my actual music. And I kind of just want to talk about, because I want to talk about this thing I did in 5th grade, which relates to Mirror's Edge. I don't want to go into it because I kind of want to save it for the video,
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm interested
uh,
to check that channel out actually, because I think it should be
nice.
quite a good listen, considering like a lot of the points that you've been making on tonight's show. Like do you discuss like those kind of things on the show or on your channel rather, or
Uh, I haven't really talked about uh
have you not
like the
talked about
whole.
like emaciated furries that are plugged into the Matrix?
No, not yet. I want to kind of. There's a lot of really serious things I want to talk about, but I kind of want to do fluff stuff before I'm like I want to build up my ability to write good scripts before I can get to that point.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
want to make like there's this one video I want to make about Fallout, about like the anti-capitalist messages that are kind of littered throughout the game, because a lot of gamers, they don't see any of the political
yeah.
things in it. And I don't want to make that video now because I'll make so many mistakes and I'll look like a fucking moron. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I so I'll probably make videos like that eventually, like about simulation and stuff like that. But right now I'm just making fluff videos about video games.
All right, cool. So, Bliss Monkey asks to both of us, how do musical collaborations work? Do you decide on a theme and do you do your own tracks, or do you collaborate from track to track? How does it work usually? So have you ever done any collaborations with people before?
Oh man, like the biggest was Unknown Futures with no Signals of Unknown Futures with No Death,
Oh
where
yeah, yeah.
I made it was like a kind of like a split with him.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's actually what turned me on to No Death's music back when that came out. Like
yeah,
I hadn't heard any of his stuff before, but I checked that out because I wanted to check out like your side basically. But then I listened to the whole thing and like I really enjoyed like his stuff as well.
yeah. Know that No Death is really fucking good. He's he makes really great music. That and I made a collab track with this guy Draven, or what is it? He Dream Tsunami. Like I don't like him anymore. He's a fucking tool. I'm sorry, but we don't get along anymore. He accused me of just straight up like of abuse on Twitter several times, and
Yeah.
I don't fucking know where he got that, but
Yeah, I actually collaborated with him when he just started out as well, but like he disrespected me so many times
oh
afterwards. He's sort
god,
of like, one of those
he's
confrontational people, I suppose, but
he's such a fucking like dipshit.
Yeah.
I collabed with him, and that was like the only time I actually made like a collab track. I did make a collab, like an actual proper collab track, and not just a split with No Death.
Yeah.
And we're gonna release it with you, but we just kind of it never happened.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
I
been
don't
like
know.
quite a few plans to have you on Dream Catalogue before, but they just sort of never worked out until we did the global unification
Yeah,
album recently. But yeah, I suppose it was worth the wait in that regard.
yeah.
Um, uh,
I'm not good at making collabs, so literally it was only the few times. I never
yeah.
did any more. I know you do way more.
Yeah, like I've done loads of collabs. Like I think I said on one of the episodes the other day that the people that I've enjoyed collaborating with the most are Telepath and Cocaine Jesus, just because I don't know what it is, but for some reason I just really click with both of those musically, and it just like works really smoothly. Um,
Yeah.
but like me and Vapera and I, like we were making a collaboration like album together like years ago, and like it just didn't click at all. Like musically, like we were sending things back and forth and so on, and just none of it really worked at all. I don't know why. Like just I think like just different people have different approaches to things. So when you do like collaborations with people, it's more about like an agreement on the approach rather than like an agreement on the sound itself. So it's hard to
Yeah.
really like articulate, but it's just like a feeling thing more than anything. Um,
The very few times I've done like actual proper track collabs, it was never they're never like all of them were okay. They weren't great, but there really wasn't much connection. All I did was I made just a simple like ambient thing and then sent it to them and they edited it and then I was done and
yeah,
that was really it. There wasn't really much collaboration with it. It was just technically like a
yeah,
collab, you know.
yeah,
I don't work well with other people
yeah.
in that regard, I mean.
Yeah, like I actually really enjoy working with other people, but like at the moment I've just pretty much taken a huge break from music and I'm not planning to make anything anytime soon really.
Yeah.
But I think actually I really like collaborating with people on the Martin Smith project. Like I did like lots of different like collabs, but that was I guess that's more like guest verses and stuff and like people making beats for it more than anything else. Um yeah, Cute Swaggy says, I'm really grateful for M and the Dream Catalogue because they're literally changing the entire world and making it more magical and more dream punk. Well, thank you very much for the compliment. Um,
My friend is freaking out about how they're about her. Not, I wouldn't say freaking out, but their question keeps getting ignored. So I'm gonna ask it here.
oh, go on.
Uh,
Like my chat's like going all over the place, so I'm probably missing like half of them. So
asking what our opinions on hard bass is, and I'd say I like it,
yeah,
but
I really like hard bass. Sorry to interrupt you, but like yeah, there's oh shit, what's it called? There's this like really amazing mix on YouTube, which is like just the best hard bass sound. It's called Devil Drums, and it's like he spelled the drums with a Z rather than an S. So yeah, just check out Devil Drums on YouTube, and it's like an hour of just like non-stop hard bass, but it's just like really good stuff. I think it's like a Russian artist or DJ or something.
yeah, I love hard bass. Like every time I listen to it, it's really good, but I don't. I've never delved into it like I should. Like there's so much music out there that like I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good, and then I never listen to it again, and I kind of just miss out on a ton of stuff that I
Yeah,
just don't know about.
yeah.
And hard bass is one of those things. Yeah.
Um. Uh, okay, so I think I've like covered as much of the questions as possible here. So Yeah, I think like overall it's been like one of the better podcasts that we've done so far. So I'd like love to get you on again. Like I
Oh,
think
of
like 'cause,
course.
like one of the things I want to do with this podcast going forward is sort of set up like I suppose like round table discussions or debates or whatever about like certain subjects. So like if we ever do one about I suppose like stuff like uh the simulation or geopolitics or whatever you're interested in, I'll probably like hit you up to get you back on again, if you're
Hell
up
yeah.
for it anyway.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. So if like before we go, do you want to like give any final plugs or shout outs or whatever?
Yes. I shouted out earlier, but I know there's like the viewers right now are different from earlier. I want to shout out my girlfriend, Coca-Cola. They released an EP on Business Casual like a few months ago called Flower. Listen to that. It's very good. Uh, I don't know who else to shout out. Shout out to France.
France.
Yeah,
What?
just the entire country. No, no reason.
What? Before we what's your opinion on the yellow vests and all that stuff?
Oh, I don't really have an opinion other than I really wish that would happen in America, where
Yeah.
people would actually, people love to joke about how French like they always surrender and shit, but they're like the only fucking
Yeah.
Western country to do that.
Yeah, like people say that in reference to like World War Two and such, but if you actually like study the history of France, like especially
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
Napoleon and like the overturning the monarchy and all that stuff, you can see that sort of coming about again with the yellow vest movement, which is if anything, it's like fun to watch the streams on YouTube. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying a lot of that at the moment myself.
I also want to plug my Twitter because I want more followers.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, thank you. It's
If
at
if you want to tweet the link to this afterwards as well, I'll retweet you so that you might get a few more followers of Dream
all
Catalog.
right. It's at this machine with two e's with this machine.
This
That's
machine
my
with
at.
two E's. Okay, cool. Yeah, and just look out for it on the Dream Catalog Twitter as well. I'll probably just retweet after we've gone off air in just a moment.
Is that
Um,
Defix Nick Carell? God,
yeah,
forever since
face chain. Yeah, yeah,
it's been forever since I've talked with him.
yeah. Oh, it looks like he called you a communist in the chat.
Thanks, dude.
um. All right. Okay. So I think that's about it for tonight. Thank you everyone again for tuning in. I'm pulling an all dayer today because my sleep pattern's so fucked up and I need to fix it. I woke up at like 11 o'clock at night tonight. And I'm missing out the streams with Shima, and I actually need to fix my sleep pattern, so I'm up early on Saturday so we can do the Flat Earth podcast debate with the guy that I've got on coming on Saturday.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, he's actually probably the most prominent flat earther. So if you wanna like sort of do a bit of research, you'll be able to find out who it is. But I'll announce it on Saturday anyway. But yeah, we'll probably actually be back on in maybe 10 to 12 hours or so, which will be Shima, myself, and maybe a guest, whoever we can find at the time. It might be Halo Acid actually, because I know he was going to come back on. Yeah, so yeah, catch us in like 10 to 12 hours if you're about, and if not, if you're listening to this on delay or on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, be sure to follow us at dreamcatalogue.com and just search Dream Catalog on YouTube, Twitter, etc. to find us wherever you want. Alright, cool. So until next time, peace.